If you are over 75 or someone you love is approaching that age, you need to hear this before your next doctor's appointment. Not because your doctor is hiding something, but because a standard annual checkup leaves maybe 12 minutes to cover medications, blood pressure, lab results, and everything else on the list. 12 minutes. What I am about to share cannot be covered in 12 minutes. It has taken me years of working with older adults to understand it fully. Here is the truth that most seniors in this country never hear until it is already too late to prepare. After age 75, your body does not simply get older. It undergoes 5 specific documented biological changes that run silently for months, sometimes years. Before you feel their effects by the time most people connect the symptoms to the cause, the process has been running for a long time. In the next 15 minutes, I am going to walk you through exactly what those 5 changes are, why they happen, and what you can actually do about each one. Not vague advice, specific research-grounded actions you can start tonight. Stay with me through all 5 because the change I am saving for last is the one that controls the speed of everything else happening in your body. You do not want to miss it. Before we go further, drop a comment right now with your age. Just your age. I want to see who is watching because what I am about to share applies differently depending on whether you are 70, 75, or 82. And if you have noticed any of these in the past year, waking repeatedly through the night, feeling unsteady when you stand, or exhaustion after very little effort, add the word yes to your comment. That tells me exactly where to go deeper next time. Picture this. A 77-year-old woman comes in for a routine checkup. She is not sick. She eats well. She has been walking her neighborhood for years. But over the past 18 months, something has quietly shifted. She is not sleeping through the night. She has had 2 near falls in the kitchen. She feels tired in a way that rest does not fix. And she has started avoiding stairs. Her doctor checks her blood work, reviews her medications, finds nothing alarming, and tells her this is a normal part of aging. She leaves with nothing to act on, no explanation, no strategy. That scenario repeats thousands of times every week across this country. It is not that doctors are wrong. It is that the standard appointment structure does not allow time to explain what is actually happening inside the body after 75, and more importantly, what to do about it. Research published over the past 2 decades has mapped these changes in remarkable detail. We understand the biological timelines, the systems affected, and the interventions that genuinely work. That gap between what the science shows and what most patients actually hear is exactly what today is about. If you want to understand the why, not just a list of instructions, then this will change how you think about your own body. The body you are living in at 75 is not simply an older version of the body you had at 55. It operates under fundamentally different biological rules. 2 shifts in particular drive everything that follows. First, hormonal output drops across the board. Growth hormone, testosterone, estrogen, the hormones that signal your tissues to repair and maintain, fall to a fraction of what they once were. Think of a construction company that ran 3 shifts, suddenly cutting 2. 1, the work still gets done, but slower, with less margin for error, and any backlog builds faster than it gets cleared. Second, chronic low-grade inflammation becomes the body's default state. Researchers call this inflammaging, a persistent low-level immune activation running silently in the background. You cannot feel it, you cannot detect it without blood tests, but it accelerates the breakdown of muscle, bone, and nerve tissue while interfering with the repair processes meant to counter that breakdown. These are not small differences. They are fundamental changes that demand a completely different approach to how you eat, sleep, and move. And most standard guidelines people follow were written without fully accounting for them. Change number 5. This is the one that sends more people to my office convinced something is seriously wrong, when what is actually happening is their brain has been rebuilt on a new schedule without anyone telling them. After 75, the brain reorganizes how it sleeps. This is not insomnia. It is not anxiety. It is not an early sign of dementia. It is a documented neurological shift that happens to every human being in this age range. Deep sleep, the stage where your body repairs tissue, consolidates memory, and supports immune function, decreases significantly with age. Studies published in journals including Sleep and the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine consistently show that slow-wave deep sleep declines sharply after 65 and continues falling through the 70s. This matters because deep sleep is not optional. It is the stage where metabolic waste is cleared from the brain, where muscle repair signals are released, where immune memory is reinforced. Melatonin production also falls with age. Research from the National Institute on Aging confirms that older adults produce significantly less melatonin than younger adults, and the timing shifts earlier in the evening. This is why the urge to sleep at 8 p.m. feels completely natural after 75. Your biology has moved the clock forward. That is not weakness. That is neuroscience. What do? Stop fighting your body's new schedule. Go to bed when you are genuinely tired. Get natural sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. This is the single most effective daily anchor for your circadian clock. Remove bright screens and overhead lights from your environment after 7 p.m. If you wake in the middle of the night and cannot return to sleep, get up, keep lights dim, do something quiet for 30 to 45 minutes, then return to bed. Many older adults rest better on a split pattern than forcing a single unbroken block. Your sleep is not broken. It has been restructured. Change number 4. Most people never think about this one until they are in an emergency room. After 75, your body's ability to regulate its own temperature changes in ways most people are completely unprepared for. The hypothalamus, the brain region functioning as your internal thermostat, becomes less sensitive to temperature fluctuations with age. Your sweat response slows, the insulating fat layer beneath your skin thins, your metabolism, which generates internal body heat, also drops. But here is what concerns me most as a clinician. The warning signals go quiet. Research consistently shows that older adults often do not feel thirsty even when significantly dehydrated. They may not shiver effectively when dangerously cold. They may not feel overheated even as core body temperature climbs into dangerous territory. CDC surveillance data on heat-related illness shows that adults over 65 account for a disproportionate share of heat-related hospitalizations and deaths during extreme heat events, not because they ignored warnings, but because their bodies genuinely did not send adequate warning signals in time. The same pattern applies in cold weather, where hypothermia risk rises for the same reason. The fix requires a fundamental shift in thinking. You can no longer fully trust how you feel as a measure of whether your body temperature is safe. Trust external tools. Keep a thermometer in your main living space. Set phone reminders every 2 hours to drink water, regardless of thirst. Dress in layers daily, because your perception of your own temperature can shift significantly over the course of a single day. On extreme weather days, hot or cold, keep physical activity indoors. Your margin for temperature error has changed. Adjust your habits to match. Change number 3 affects something you do 3 times a day and never think twice about. After 75, your digestive system undergoes what gastroenterologists describe as a structural slowdown. Saliva production decreases with age, and since saliva contains enzymes that begin breaking down food before it reaches your stomach, digestion is already compromised at the first bite. Stomach acid production declines as well. That acid is doing critical work far beyond managing reflux. It breaks down proteins, enables absorption of vitamin B12, iron, and calcium, and kills harmful bacteria in food. When acid output drops, all 3 functions are compromised together. The small intestine, where most nutrient absorption happens, loses efficiency with age. Research has documented age-related changes in intestinal absorptive function that contribute to what clinicians call malabsorption, a state where you eat a nutritious diet, but your body fails to extract full benefit from it. AB12 deficiency developing slowly over years may eventually surface as fatigue, cognitive fog, or nerve symptoms, none of which most people connect back to this root cause. The colon slows as well. Constipation is common in this age group, not from low fiber alone, but from a genuine reduction in the muscle contractions that move food through the system. How you respond. Eat smaller meals more frequently because your system handles large volumes less efficiently now. Chew each bite more deliberately. Mechanical breakdown compensates for reduced chemical breakdown further down. Add fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, and fermented vegetables to support your gut microbiome. Shift your fiber focus towards soluble fiber from oatmeal, cooked vegetables, and bananas rather than large amounts of raw roughage, which increasingly causes discomfort at this stage. Change number 2 puts more Americans over 75 in the hospital than almost anything else. And the reason it is so dangerous is that most people blame it on clumsiness or bad luck. It is neither. Falls after 75 are not accidents. They are the predictable outcome of 3 separate systems declining simultaneously. The first is your vestibular system, structures in the inner ear that tell your brain where your head is positioned in space. The second is your proprioceptive network, sensors in muscles and joints that tell your brain where every part of your body is, even in the dark, even without looking. Research in aging neuroscience has documented significant proprioceptive decline in adults over 70, particularly in the feet and ankles. The third is vision, specifically contrast sensitivity and depth perception, both of which decline with age in ways that make it harder to judge distances and detect edges changes in low or changing light. Any one of these losses would increase fall risk. Together, they compound, and the brain's processing speed for balance information slows with age, meaning the window to catch yourself when you begin to tip narrows. Studies on Tai Chi, published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society and other peer-reviewed journals, show meaningful reductions in fall frequency among older adults who practice it regularly. The mechanism is logical. Tai Chi trains controlled weight shifting, slow deliberate movement, and the integration of balance signals in exactly the way an aging system needs. Act on this today. Remove every throw rug from your home, install grab bars in your bathroom and along hallways, improve lighting in doorways and stairwells, treat your footwear as medical equipment, firm non-slip soles, low heels, secure fastening, practice standing on one foot for 10 seconds daily near a wall for safety. These cost nothing and address the biology directly. And now we have reached the change that sits underneath everything else, the one that controls how fast the other four progress. After age 75, muscle loss accelerates in a process researchers and clinicians call sarcopenia. Research published in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle, and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition consistently documents an accelerated rate of muscle loss in adults over 75 compared to earlier decades, and the functional consequences accumulate faster than the numbers suggest. It is not just about mass, it is about which fibers disappear fastest. Type 2 fast twitch fibers, responsible for power and rapid response, decline at a higher rate than slow twitch fibers after 75. These are the fibers that let you catch yourself when you trip, that let you stand quickly from a chair. They are standing between you and the kind of fall that changes everything. The mechanism driving this is called anabolic resistance, one of the most important concepts in geriatric medicine that almost nobody outside of clinical research has heard of. After 75, your muscles become significantly less responsive to the signals that normally trigger repair and growth. You can eat protein and exercise, and your muscles absorb less benefit from both than they would have at 60. Growth hormone and IGF-1, the hormone that instructs muscle to rebuild, fall to levels where the rebuild signal barely registers. And the chronic inflammation running in the background creates a biological environment where breakdown consistently outpaces reconstruction. Here is what the research actually supports for fighting back. Protein timing becomes the most important dietary decision you make every day. Studies in geriatric nutrition consistently show that older adults need more protein per kilogram of body weight than younger adults, precisely because of anabolic resistance. Target 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each meal, spread evenly through the day. Your body at this age cannot efficiently process a large single protein load the way a younger body can. Focus on leucine-rich sources, eggs, chicken, dairy, fish. Leucine is the specific amino acid that most strongly triggers muscle protein synthesis, and research suggests older adults need a higher leucine threshold per meal to achieve the same effect a younger adult gets with less. Vitamin D deficiency is widespread among older adults. Research, including meta-analyses published in journals such as the British Journal of Nutrition, links low vitamin D status to reduced muscle function. If you have not had your levels checked recently, make that happen this week. Resistance training, working against load through weights, bands, or body weight, is the only stimulus shown to directly counter sarcopenia. Cardiovascular activity is important for heart and metabolic health, but it does not address muscle fiber loss the way resistance work does. Allow adequate recovery between sessions, because your repair systems need more time than they once did. And understand that extended inactivity now costs you significantly more than it once did. Staying as mobile as possible during illness or recovery is not optional. It is urgent. Muscle is not vanity. It is whether you can stand from a chair without using your arms, whether you can carry your groceries, whether you can live in your own home on your own terms. Protecting it after 75 is the foundation everything else is built on. I want to say something before we close because I think it matters. These 5 changes are not evidence that your body has failed you. They are not the result of poor choices. They are documented, predictable biological events written into the human timeline, the same timeline that applies to every person on this planet. The shame many older adults feel when their body stops performing the way it always has, the embarrassment about sleep, the frustration about stamina, the quiet fear about a near fall nobody else saw, that shame is not earned. It is not useful, and it is not deserved. What is useful is knowing that these changes are coming coming or already underway, transforms them from invisible threats into manageable realities. The people who age with the most independence are rarely the ones who are healthiest at 50. They are the ones who stopped being surprised by what their biology was doing and started making deliberate, informed decisions about how to meet it. You just received information that most people in your age group will never hear in a format they can actually use. That is not a small thing. Here's what I want you to do starting today. One action for each change. For sleep, get outside in natural morning light within 30 minutes of waking. Remove every screen from your bedroom tonight. For temperature, put a thermometer in your living room. Set a phone reminder every 2 hours to drink water, regardless of whether you feel thirsty. For digestion, at your next meal, count how many times you chew one bite. Most people stop at 7 or 8. Work toward 30. For balance, stand near a wall tonight and lift 1 foot for 10 seconds. That is your baseline. Practice it every day. For muscle, add up your protein grams from today. If the total is under 75 to 80 grams, you now know exactly what to change first. Small actions applied consistently. That is how biology responds to effort at any age. Drop a comment right now with the word ready if something in today's video is going to change how you act. This week, I read every comment. That word tells me you are taking this seriously. Think of one person you love who is at or approaching 75. Someone attributing their sleep problems to stress, their unsteadiness to clumsiness, their exhaustion to just getting older. Send them this video right now. Not tomorrow, right now, knowing this changes outcomes. It genuinely does. Subscribe to this channel. My goal is to give you honest, research-grounded health information that most people only find out about after something has already gone wrong. You deserve to know it before that happens. In my next video, I am going deep on sarcopenia specifically, the exact resistance training approach the research supports for adults over 75, the practical protein timing strategy, and the single biggest mistake most older adults make when starting exercise again after time away. Getting that right makes an enormous difference, and most people get it wrong. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. The biological changes described reflect findings from published research in aging medicine, but individual situations vary significantly. Never adjust or discontinue any medication or treatment without consulting your healthcare provider. Always seek guidance from a qualified medical professional before making significant changes to your diet, exercise routine, or health management.